Hello and welcome! Star Citizen Alpha 3.23 Adventure Beckons is now live. So there's an awesome new Alpha 3.23 trailer, but we're going to be talking about the wipe details, the overdrive updates, the XenoThreat Delay, the ship sale, and the most important changes to this patch. Also, CIG have confirmed that Pyro and 4.0 is the next major patch that they're going to be launching. And if you want to get into the game quicker, and we're playing in the PTU, ePTU, just rename your PTU folder to live and you'll have a smaller download. Also, it's always good practice to delete your Star Citizen shader folder after an update. I'll link all of that down below and how you can do it. You can typically find details of how to do that at the top of any Star Citizen patch notes. 3.23, there is a wipe, at least a partial wipe. So you'll have to and will want to recreate your character with the new character customizer and then choose your home location. Bear in mind that when your personal hangar is added to this patch cycle later in the next couple of months, whatever, your home location will house your personal hangar, so wherever you've picked as your starting location. So bear that in mind, because there might not be another wipe for a while. There might be, but we'll have to wait and see. There is an official Star Citizen character creation contest, which I will link down below as well to make the sort of best character and backstory for them. You have a chance to win some ships and that sort of stuff from CIG. 3.23 comes with a full Alpha UEC wipe, so all your currency is gone. You'll start with like your account ledger plus 20,000 Alpha UEC. Consumables should all be wiped as well, so ammo, med pens, rentals, refinery drops, all stuff like that. So, were ships and vehicles bought with Alpha UEC kept? Well, it appears yes. For the most part, most people are keeping their ships and vehicles that they bought with Alpha UEC. Obviously, anything bought with real money is always transferred across as well. It appears many items, components, and that sort of stuff also persisted across. There is a partial reputation wipe, so this actually appears to have wiped some people's reputation fully, and some people have got some of their reputation for certain things there, but progress on stuff like the Overdrive Initiative missions should remain unaffected. Reason for that partial wipe is that hostility-based reputation is now in-game, and more ready for Alpha 4.0 than anything else, but some areas like settlements, they sort of use this in 3.23. Thank you for everyone in my Discord this morning for helping me confirm all of that wipe information. So there is a bit of an update to the Overdrive Initiative stuff and a XenoThreat Delay. So the XenoThreat Menace has been repelled for now, said CIG, and it's unlikely the planned incursion will happen until after Invictus launch week. Invading during a military expo is clearly a bad idea. As such, Overdrive Initiative phases 1 to 5 will still be available for all volunteers right up until the XenoThreat Assault begins. So they're still running the Overdrive Initiative for quite a while, and those first 5 phases. If you completed phases 1 to 5, you will also receive a mission titled Overdrive Initiative Reward. Once you accept that, you'll be granted an F7A Hornet Mark II upgrade for the F7C Mark II, and a 7-day rental for the F7A there. So you can hold off on using that token by basically just not accepting that mission until XenoThreat's on. There's some XenoThreat armor as a reward as well, which you'll get once you complete Phase 6, the main XenoThreat invasion thing that's happening later that we just discussed. Phase 5 of Overdrive should now be completable for players that couldn't complete it before, and also there's a ways of opening up the console and seeing your progress. I'll link all that stuff down below. The F7A upgrades and first wave of rentals for that have been distributed, so you'll see people flying around with those, but obviously you'll get those once you actually complete those 5 phases if you decide to. There were massive queues getting into the game last night as CIG were bringing up servers. There may still be some waiting times at peak hours, bear that in mind. I want to give you some important information about some of the features in Alpha 3.23 that you're going to want to know about. Vulcan is in the patch, but it's more in for testing, so you can change this in the graphics options, and for almost everyone, it's going to cause performance dips and issues, but test it by all means. That's the reason they've put it in there. There's also a resolution upscaling, which gives some good results and is worth experimenting with. I found DLSS works best for me. Distribution centers, new points of interest, are in the game as well, around Microtech and Hurston. You can find these all over the planets and also get some of those locations for them from missions. There are absolutely tons of missions here, from combat to defense to delivery. You can land at these and they're basically mini landing zones. Some are off limits unless you have a mission there, but yeah, lots of mission content. There are Marok birds that are flying around now, and you can harvest them for missions. There are missions to go and sort of hunt them, and valuables there. There are dangerous Copian jackals, which hunt potentially in quite large packs. You can find these all over Microtech, and there are various variants based on the biomes that they are in. They have updated ship AI and combat behaviors when the servers are working well, and hopefully they should. You'll notice that they are actually a lot more interactive and intelligent in their sort of combat and the way they engage. Mobilglass, that's had a big update, as has your visor and HUD, but also you've got the new star map in, and you've got a mini map there as well. So star map, much easier to use. It's got a search function. You can see the local area of points of interest as well. There's a map app in your Mobilglass. You can see some interiors of most ships, actually a lot of ships. They've improved EVA, so when you're flying around out of your ship, this looks and feels much better. It's much less janky. They've significantly improved the interaction system. There's a little action wheel, but you can sort of pick up stuff much more easily and regularly. It's much more streamlined for grabbing things, picking things up. And there's also an FPS loot screen now, so when you're interacting with the body, you sort of have that quick loot screen, so you can quickly grab magazines or all the items that you want in a much more streamlined way. There's ammo repooling, and sort of magazines from your backpack are taken for reloads as well. There's just generally a better FPS UI. Loads of new ships are available to buy in in-game shops. So you've got the Fury MX and LX, the Lynx Rover, the Hull C, the Spirit A1 and C1, the Cutter Scout and Rambler, the SRV, the Storm and Storm AA, the Santok Yai, and the X1 series of hoverbikes, the Base, Force and Velocity. There's water simulation in now as well. Looks very pretty. Cloud and render improvements. The replication layer is in, but the main thing for this that you'll notice is server recovery. So this should migrate you or restart a server that's 30k'd, so you don't have to sort of relog. So you have to wait a little while, and it will basically say server recovery in progress or whatever, and then bam, you'll be back. There can be issues with it getting rid of your mission and trespassing in areas that you weren't trespassing before, so just bear that in mind. There are tons of FPS weapon changes, weapon balance, lots of buffs and damage increases here. There's dynamic crosshairs for combat helmets, new scopes and sights. There's an engineering experimental mode in Arena Commander, which is awesome, but basic at the moment. So at least one team of you of up to 6 is flying around in an A2 and basically has engineers that have to repair the components and fuses that get damaged while fighting off the other team, which can also be in an A2 or in a load of Gladius. And this is basically to test sort of repair and components and component damage and all that sort of jazz. Also in Arena Commander, there's a load of new racing maps, there's voice over IP working, custom private matches, lots of tweaks to some of those game modes like gun rushes with loads of new weapon sets which they can change more easily, and tweaks to Pirate Swarm, stuff like that. Let me just go over some of the new FPS control updates. So it's still sort of F to interact and 1 to 3 for your weapons, but you can also now mouse scroll for your weapons. Change movement speed is now left alt and mouse wheel. 6 is your fisticuffs. Pew, pew, pew. I'm not sure why they make the laser sound. You've got multi-tool or your gadget, which is on 5. Consumables like med pens are on 4. Throwables like grenades are G. You can equip your knife with V. You can customize your weapon with J, crouch is C, and prone is left control. Your biggest changes for this patch are coming with master modes and all the combat and gunnery changes. So your ships can be in one of 2 of these master modes, and you swap them by holding B. So obviously no longer for quantum travel for holding B. You'll see what I mean in a second. So nav mode, one of these modes, is useful for traversal. In fact, it is your sort of main traversal mode. When activated, your quantum drive will start spooling, and once it's spooled up, you can actually go very fast, around 1 kilometer a second with your thrusters. Quantum travel is also now available to you. Weapons and shields will still be powered and regenerating. However, shields will be ineffective and weapons not allowed to fire. If your quantum drive gets powered off or becomes distorted, the high speeds will be unavailable again. Quantum drives are very susceptible to distortion damage, so make sure you're not in danger when entering nav mode. When you're actually ready to go to your location, facing it, fully spooled and all that sort of jazz, it's now long left click to quantum travel while in nav mode. That would be quite a frustrating change if you didn't know that. SCM mode is used for any gameplay that's not traversal. So your shields are functional, your weapons work, and salvaging and mining can be used normally. All of those kind of functions. You're not moving from A to B. Typically, you are sort of doing your ship's roll or combat. Your speeds are effectively harshly limited in this mode though. Operator modes, they're a bit different. They're not to be confused with master modes. They're basically the change of behavior of your cockpit dashboard. So it can be salvage mode, mining mode, it can be missiles and guns, it can be quantum travel. In the top left of your flight HUD, you'll see your master mode and operator mode. Turrets don't currently have an indication of what's going on with operator mode, which is a little annoying, but I'll add that later. Middle mouse button now cycles through all available operator modes, not just guns and missiles. For nav mode as well, there's a generic flight operator mode, which allows you to fly around without quantum markers everywhere. The key binding for calling the air traffic control for landing and takeoff is now right, alt, and N. That is, again, a very important key to remember. There are absolutely tons of combat, flight, and gunnery changes. However, let me go over some of the more major ones. We'll address like the full patch notes in a different video. There are some changes to IFCS, including boost, which now ramps up. There's gravity compensation. There's automatic precision mode that limits speed when your landing gear's out. You can turn these off. There's loads of controls that you can sort of set if you want to. Cruise control is now a sticky throttle instead of pressing a button and the ship lurching forward with max acceleration. So now if you press left, Control and C, that's your cruise mode, and the IFCS, the Intelligent Flight Computer System, will use your current forward speed as its goal and try to retain that. Pressing W or S or using your main throttle axis, you can then smoothly decrease and increase that forward goal speed. To reset it to 0, hold X. There is a load of weapon tuning updates, PIP and ESP improvements. Persistent ship settings are now saved to your ship. By default, all ships and turrets are now equipped with gimbals. There are obviously some exceptions to that, where like there's a fixed weapon integrated as part of the nose of a ship, or a really large size 7 gun with the Ares. G still changes gimbal modes, but auto gimbal is exclusive for dedicated turrets now, so basically pilots can't use it. Precision targeting is available on all turret and pilot seats, only really useful for gimbal weapons. So precision targeting, you press left, alt, and right mouse button, and it will zoom in on a current target. If you scan the target, then you'll see all sub-targets highlighted, and you can sort of move your crosshair to paint the target where you want to have your shots try and hit, and your sort of your systems will try and actually shoot that spot. Precision targeting does heavily reduce fire rates on certain weapons, but it does decrease the spread. And that's the sort of main stuff with that patch that you sort of need to know. Cloud Imperium did say Alpha 3.23 is one of our most expansive and game-changing releases to date that adds life, excitement, and usability improvements throughout the vast, persistent universe. From the introduction of the very first wildlife across Stanton's planets to the Master Modes feature that streamlines vehicle control and ship combat, Alpha 3.23 elevates the Star Citizen universe to its most immersive and engaging height yet. This release also marks a significant milestone towards the upcoming Pyro system, laying the groundwork and adding many of the front and back end necessities that will empower players to leap to the new Star system in the next patch release. So yeah, Alpha 4.0 and Pyro is the next major patch they're going to release. We do know that there's obviously a 3.23.x series of patches, or some other bits that they're going to be putting in over the next 3 months anyway, with the Retaliator Gold Standard Pass and the ability for that ship to actually be modular. They're actually putting modularity in for that. And also the cargo updates with new cargo hauling missions, persistent / personal hangars, the freight elevator, item banks. Some pretty big important things there. There's also a ship sale going on at the moment. So there are 19 ships and vehicles available. There's the 300i, 400i, and 600i from Origin. If you want any of those sort of super luxury ships, obviously they go up in size as they go up in number. You've got the C8R Medical Pisces, the C8X Expedition Pisces. You've got the Cutlass Steel, the Cyclone AA, MT, and TR are those little ground vehicles there. They're quite cool. They're kind of like a little warthog from Halo. You've got the Mole mining ship. You've got the Mercury Star Runner, my favourite ship in the game. Very cool. Sort of mixture of data runner, smuggler, touches on a little bit of everything. It's a good size for like 3+ crew as well. You've got the Prospector if you want to do some mining. You've got the Reclaimer if you want to do some large-scale salvage. You've got the Reliant Core, which is sort of like a more entry-level multi-role ship that would do a little bit of combat, but a little bit of cargo hauling. You've got the Spartan, more of a sort of APC. You've got the Terrapin. Not sure where the Terrapin's there. That's sort of more of a reconnoitering, scanning ship more than anything else. Very tough nut to crack is the idea behind it. Very quite small though. And then you've got the Vulture if you want to do smaller scale salvage. And they've also got the Murai Pulse and the Pulse LX. So these are both new and flyable in 3.23. They're available from $25 to $30. The latter price being if you only use store credit, and they come with lifetime insurance or 120-month insurance respectively. Either are great as upgrade tokens ready for Fleet Week. So you get one of these and then you go, I'm going to, with all the different ships that are available during Fleet Week, upgrade this ship to this new ship and keep its insurance level, be that lifetime insurance or 120 months. The Pulse, they're small hover bikes. They're pretty agile and they can get into loads of different ships and vehicles. The standard Pulse has a laser Gatling weapon, whereas the LX drops that for more racing features. There's some cool sort of skins available. If you're a concierge, you can grab one of these with a free gold and charcoal Dominion paint. So bear that in mind. What else, if anything? Oh, there's some important bugs to know as well, some known issues. You can check out the full patch notes if you are interested. But bunker elevators sometimes don't return when cooled. ASOP terminals for ground vehicles at Lawville can get stuck on an infinite load screen. There's some misaligned HUD marker issues with widescreens or using TSR upscaling. Using a med pen can cause you to drop your weapon. Internal transit elevators can show up, but the doors remain closed, and transit will intermittently desync and go off course. The tutorial objectives can be soft locked by a player leaving the bed before the objective record has been updated, and friendlies can show up as enemies in Arena Commander squad battle. Some people are still having some issues with that desync and entity graph problem that Cloud Imperium were having, so bear that in mind. And that seems to be intermittent, kind of presents itself with actions not working, so you're like pressing a button, it doesn't work, or ASOP terminal's not activating, whatever, because there's a load of other stuff in a queue that's being waited sort of to clear before it can then do what you've requested from the server. Can relog, which sometimes helps. Obviously playing not at peak times can help, and CIG are going to be actively hotfixing this even more. So yeah, I'm really interested to know your experiences with Alpha 3.23, and are you loving it? Are you excited for the sort of future of 4.0 coming next? Or I say coming next as the next major patch. Obviously some additional features are still turning up later in the 3.23 cycle that I'm very excited for. Did your ships and vehicles and reputation persist from 3.22 to 3.23, or did you lose some or all of it? If you've got any specific questions or comments that you want to make on the patch, I would love to hear from you in the comments below. Also, NordVPN. Maybe you should check that bad boy out, because it's a VPN and it's Nord, and I support it on my channel. You clicking on the links down below gets us money. But also nordvpn.com/BoredGamer is great for your privacy and your security and your accessibility of the internet. So you can go, I'm today in Peru and I'm going to watch all my Peruvian anime. I'm not sure if that's a thing, but it could be. Toby Eye Tracker also has some improvements in Alpha 3.23. It's also currently on sale, 15% off until the 20th of May. Don't miss out on that. Links down below for that as well. That gives you a high precision eye and head tracking in Star Citizen, natively supported. Ooh, how can you afford not to click the links below? I know I can't. May in Star Citizen is about fleets and Fleet Week and flying with friends, and we've partnered up with Lunar Wolves, a Star Citizen org, to give away a fleet of ships. Commenting on any any of my videos during the month not only gets you a chance to win a Spirit C1, but also a Constellation Andromeda, a Vanguard Sentinel, and a Corsair, courtesy of Lunar Wolves. They'll each be going out to a different winner chosen randomly from the video comments. But wait, there is more. Sign up to the Lunar Wolves recruitment page, link down below, for a chance for even more ships, including an RSI Polaris with lifetime insurance and a Hornet F7C Mark II. Winners of those will be selected randomly from eligible org signups. Lunar Wolves welcome all that share their passion for adventure and love of Star Citizen. You can learn more about them on their org page or at lunarwolves.org. If you would like to further support our channel, please like, subscribe, comment, share these videos. And if you'd like to go the extra mile, and I would love you to, please consider becoming a Patreon or clicking that join button under my videos. It goes a huge way in allowing us to make daily content and keep the channel going. You'll get some exclusive content from that as well. Anytime Zin and I can actually put it out, as well as help evolve the channel with polls and suggestions and that sort of stuff. Thank you so much for watching to the end, and have a great May. It's going to be a good one.